Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's America's Supermom, and I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Corona Chronicles Live. I am so excited to have Laura Armstrong here. We actually met through a Facebook Live presentation that she gave, or actually, it was a webinar that she gave, and it is on cracking the bank code. Understanding why people buy. And I thought it was so fascinating. And I wanted to invite her here so that she can share this with many entrepreneurs as we get into the holiday season. We're preparing for Black Friday, the end of the year, trying to get that quota to make up for all those months that kind of have been not so favorable with the coronavirus. So she is here to kind of help us crack this code so that we can increase our revenue and kind of end up, in a better place as we approach 2021. So at this time, I am going to give Laura the floor so that she can tell us a little bit about herself before we get into how we can make some extra money over the holidays.
Thanks so much, Lachelle. I'm so thrilled to be on here. When we were talking, I just really loved the way that you were working to empower women, not just in their business, but in their life. And that's been something I've been doing all my life. I am a 3-time world champion martial artist, and I've been training and teaching for 30 years. So I teach all over the world, empowering women to step into their power and actually live the best version of themselves. And I think not only are there societal blocks there, but as a woman and generational in our families, that happens very often to us. So what I love about what I'm going to talk about today is it allows you to change those things really quickly and effectively so that you can create more in your life for whatever that means to you. And we're going to focus on business and relationships today. That's what we're going to do. So yeah, like I said, I'm a teacher and trainer of bank code methodology. There are only 180 of us trainers in the world. So we are a great commodity to get a hold of, I'll tell you that much. And when we were talking, there's many different ways that we could spin the way we talk about bank code. Originally, it was used as a sales tool, but it's become so much more than that. And the mission of the company is to connect and empower the human race. And especially right now, the way the world is, we need this more than ever. So I'm going to speak about how it's completely changed my life. It's given me the tools to speak to others and the values that are important to them. And I've been able to actually increase my revenue significantly in my business and create better relationships personally and professionally by communicating more effectively. So when I talk, I'm going to cover the different bank code personality types, their values, how to communicate and recognize them. And the goal is to learn to identify someone's code and speak to them in their language. And the values that are important to them. So you really kind of have to get over yourself and start thinking the way other people think, right? Yeah, exactly. This can increase your sales up to 300%, and it can also help to predict your client or your customer's buying behavior in less than 90 seconds when they crack their code. I just need to look at those first two, and I know the main part of your personality. I'll also empower you to cultivate better personal and professional relationships in a way that's much easier than traditional sales methods or communication methods within relationships. I've given marriage counseling to couples, especially during COVID, because now we're all stuck together, right? So you want to get people responding in a better way that connects them to you and to themselves. And really, that's what it's all about today.
I love that. And, let's go back to this martial artist stuff because that is amazing. Definitely that is a mindset sport. So talk to us about the importance of mindset, and that's one of the precursors for being empowered is to be able to get your mind in order. So
Absolutely.
Talk to us about some of your strategies with having that mindset to be where you are in terms of all the records and things that you have been able to acquire in martial artistry.
Yeah, for sure. And the cool thing about it is it's not just me. I've been able to take what I learned there, and I actually have my students who have world championship titles. And now
Mm-hmm.
their students have world championship titles. So now you're creating a legacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to be doing. So I would say the top three things that brought me to the top would be, first of all, I never quit, persistence. So many times I'd be coming down at that low level and I'm like, oh, this just isn't worth it. Right. And that's when you decide really what's important to you and what you want, and really take a look at that, because I think sometimes we fluff that off. But
Mm-hmm.
really, is it serving you is what you got to be asking. Is this contributing to me? Because I think a lot of the time we do stuff, especially now. I don't know how many of you felt like you were on the hamster wheel the first 3 months of this was going on, right? Right. So persistence, that's like my number one
Mm-hmm.
thing. I never quit. I never stop until I'm dead. That's the way I think. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I went after it and I wanted it. And I wanted it for a couple of reasons. First of all, there weren't very many women around at that time.
Mm-hmm.
This was a while ago. So I really wanted to set the stage for future generations of women.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, is I really had to learn to communicate much better, right? So I had to
Mm-hmm.
be aware of what was going on around me, watching the person that I was competing against. So I wasn't just getting in the ring and we were going at it. I was watching what they were doing and how they were communicating to me actually through the round. And so I made sure whenever I was watching them, I would counter what they were doing, because they only had two or three things in their toolbox of whatever the routine was in the match. I had
Mm-hmm.
20, right? So if they did this, I had five
Mm-hmm.
other things to do to them. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think, and this applies to business, right? Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
have enough stuff, right? So I started to communicate a lot better with not only the way I was training myself and my teachers were training me, but the way I was training my students as well. So that was key. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would say the last thing that I did is was persistence, communication, and leadership. Right, like when you get to
Mm-hmm.
that level, you're seen as you have a perception, right? And
Mm-hmm.
leadership becomes just a way of being for you, and it doesn't become about the win anymore, even though you're already at that level. I didn't do this once or twice. I did it 3 times, right? So there's got to be
Right.
something there that I'm doing right. And so that's what I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to pass on to people, because I want them to be the world champion of their business and their life. Okay.
Awesome.
I love
That's
that. Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah. Now, so now we're moving into the whole thing of how this communication piece helps us in our business and in other areas. So walk us through, what my results were and how we can see how this can apply not just to business, but also in how we communicate to people.
Great. What do you think, Lachelle, about putting up that little PowerPoint I had just to talk through that and then do your personality, or
Oh,
did you want to do
absolutely.
that? Okay, so let me share my
Yeah, we
screen with
can.
you guys.
Okay. I was trying to share this on Facebook, but this technology, you never know what it's doing. It's
You just
not
got
giving me the link.
to
So
go
we're
with
just
it.
going with it, y'all. Okay.
All right, so can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So there's a big whole presentation on B.A.N.K, but I'm going to give you the Coles notes for those of you who weren't born in my century. That means the short version. So B.A.N.K is a system where you can learn to communicate to people in their values. And so not only
Mm-hmm.
does it feel like they're actually hearing you, they're going to actually respond to you, because those are the things that are important to them. And when we talk about this today, there are 4 very different types. Now, I'm sure you guys have done personality assessments before, and I think all of them have huge value because they tell you about yourself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
why I find B.A.N.K is completely different. It's very much the same, but it's also very different because it actually gives you the tools to speak to people in in the values that are important to them to get the responses you're looking for. Okay.
Okay.
And it was funny because one lady said to me, she goes, well, isn't that manipulating people? And I'm like, no, you're actually connecting with them. So I don't see it as a
Mm-hmm.
manipulation. I think, gosh,
Mm-hmm.
if there would be better communication in the world on all levels, we could have a whole different world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is B.A.N.K? B.A.N.K is a sales tool, and like other.
Okay. It looks like we've got a little issue with the internet. She is, I believe, in Canada. So we will keep it moving until she gets back on. But I was really impressed with this because this really helped me in terms of really knowing what my values were. As she'll go through these each of these elements, we will have her come back on when she gets back on. But it just really helping on how we feel about ourselves, but just how are we attracting other people? Because I feel like if you know yourself and your true, authentic self, you can actually be a attractor of that type of people into your tribe, circle, however you want to preface it. So, I think it's really important to be able to really get into knowing who you are. And then this helps you begin to talk to other people because you know what you value. And so you can have empathy and compassion for other people on what they value. So it's not really a situation where we're trying to change anybody or add anything to who they are, but it's just a language where we can understand one another. So imagine if I am a teenager and I'm trying to communicate to a 6-year old. The experiences that I've had as a teenager, the 6-year old wouldn't be able to understand that. However, since I have been six before, I can get back to a 6-year old level of thinking and communicate in a language where a 6-year old would understand. And so this is really sometimes the basis for making sure that we do get those right sales. Because, for example, if you are trying to sell someone some products that maybe they're allergic to, right? Or it is totally against their values, some item that you may have, right? So we want to make sure that we open the lines of communication and we listen to what it is that our potential clients value so that we can speak the language and give them products that are going to serve them. So it's just a way of kind of weeding out the process instead of going through spending a half an hour, 45 minutes with an individual, and then to find out the products that you offer them, they are not even interested in, right? So we want to be mindful of thinking of how we can move the ball forward in a way that makes sense to us and to our potential client. So if you have any questions right now, feel free to put them in the comments. And so as Laura goes through this demonstration, we'll be able to get some of those questions answered. But again, it's about taking the time to listen, right? So even if I have a code that I could present to my potential clients, it's going to take me listening to their responses in order for me to be able to figure out what code they have, right? So I could ask them to possibly fill out a code, but we need to get back into the communication. We need to get back into the active listening, right? So many times we just feel like, you know what, I have the best product around and this is going to save the world. And I get that. We have to have passion and enthusiasm about our products or services that we provide, but we want to have that passion and enthusiasm giving those products and services to the right customers, right? It doesn't make sense if I'm going around trying to sell ice cream to somebody who is lactose intolerant, right? We want to pick the right product, the right service for the right customer. And so sometimes when we get all excited, we want to persevere. We want to keep moving in the direction that we have aspired to go into with our goals and aspirations. We forget about the client who is part of that scenario. We forget about asking them what they want. When you ask someone what they want, it's so easy to provide it. So imagine if I'm a McDonald's manager and someone comes into my establishment asking for some lasagna. Okay. I'm not going to feel bad about the person asking for lasagna. The person who wants lasagna shouldn't feel bad about coming into a McDonald's. I just simply say, as the manager, you know what? Thank you so much for coming in today. We don't serve lasagna. However, we do have these mouth tantalizing burgers. Not only do we have that, we have chicken, we have salad. I would go into the items that we do have. So maybe you're not in the market for any of these products today, but please think about coming back to see us one of those days when you do have that craving for that burger or those chicken nuggets or whatever the case may be. But while you are here, you're looking for lasagna, and that's something we don't serve. How can I help you with your thirst needs today? We have soda. We have iced coffee. We have, whatever, right? So you can go into the things that you do have that's still listening to the needs of the client and not trying to sell them what you do have. You could also say, well, we don't really serve lasagna, but the next time you are in the neighborhood, here is a free gift card for you to come in and have a meal on me so that you can begin to expand your palate. So not just lasagna, but you might want to think about coming in, trying something from our menu the next time you're in the neighborhood. Okay, so there's so many different ways that you could pivot if you are actively listening to your client. Okay, so they may be coming in because they want lasagna catered for an event. They may not even want to eat the lasagna today. So they could be coming in to see if you're catering or whatever you may offer. So you're able to pivot by listening to this person and finding out a little bit more before you start pitching things out. All right. So Laura is back.
Where
All
did
right,
I leave off? I had no idea.
Okay, so we just had the bank come up and then I don't know what happened. So we can just start from there. So we're sharing the screen. Mm-hmm.
Sure, I can share again. I'll just keep in
Okay.
touch with you to make sure that I'm not losing you this time.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
All right. Yep, I can hear you. Okay.
And you can see everything. You're good, right?
I can see everything.
Did we get to this screen?
No, we
Okay.
just got to the first one.
Okay, cool. So B.A.N.K is a coding methodology that is that was used in different personality assessments. I'm sure you guys have taken those, right? Like MBTI, color coding. There's Myers-Briggs. But why it's different than the other ones is it actually teaches you how to speak to people and the values that are important to them. Okay, so it was originally made as a sales tool, but it actually has become so much bigger, right? So you're actually going to talk to people in the values that are important to them. It's become a communication tool. I mean, I've been helping people in their marriages using this, and it's actually changed people's lives. Okay, now the theory of this is nothing new, personality assessments, and it's been around for thousands of years. It was started by Hippocrates, the father of medicine, and what he did basically was divide the human race into 4 different groups because they had different ways that they would be treated, and he called this the theory of the 4 temperaments, and all personality assessments actually are derived from this, which I find fascinating. Okay. The first one that we're going to talk about is the blueprint. The blueprint is the person who is very calm, cool, collected. They love systems and processes. They love structure, predictability, responsibility. A lot of people in government jobs are blueprints. People who do financial services, insurance, people who are police officers or where they wear a uniform, things that are very structured and have a lot of rules to them. Okay. And, if I said to you, hey, rules are meant to be, what comes into your mind?
Rules are meant to be broken.
Right. Not for the blueprint. Rules are meant to be followed. We know which code you are, right? So they are very much in the box about that, right? So nothing comes out of the box. And when you're meeting with a blueprint, do not be late. You could lose the business because of this, right? They are the person who is 15, 20 minutes early. You got to be there before them if you want to make an impression. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And also when in person, obviously, these people, the blueprints would shake your hand. They're very formal that way, but obviously that's not happening now. So it would probably
Mhm.
be something formal like a head nod or something else. And they always tend to speak in an even tone. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. So, and you'll notice when they write emails, they also speak very professionally in their email. So it's very structured.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So the next one is the action. Okay. I am a very high action. You probably picked up on that. This person is completely outside of the box. They're the mover, the shaker, the millionaire maker. They drink Red Bull for breakfast and they're off and running. A lot of these people are entrepreneurs, they're actors, they're people in positions of visible power. A lot of salespeople are actions, right? They go out, they make it happen, they get the sale going. Okay.
Mhm.
When you're building your team, the actions are the people you want on your team. They're easy to sell as long as something gives them great value. You're going to give them a good deal, and it makes sense to them. They're going to go for it, right? So they love
Mhm.
opportunity, freedom, spontaneity, action, winning, fun. They love to look good from head to toe. They want to
Mhm.
be noticed. Okay. And when you're talking to these people, you can high five them, you can fist bump them. They're all about connecting. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I am the opposite of my husband, who's a blueprint. I'm like, hey, let's jump off the cliff. And he's like, hell no, I got to check out the tides and see how high it is. Meanwhile, I'm already in the water. Right. So,
Right.
um, you can see how an entirely different set of values, you would speak to them entirely differently. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you guys today. The third one
Okay.
is the nurturer. They're neither inside the box nor outside the box. These people actually recycle the box. These are some of the kindest, most loving people that you know. They love relationships. They love being around people. In COVID, it's very hard for them because they can't hug people or see other people. And that's their currency.
Mm.
Excuse me, not so much in money, but in people. They
Mhm.
love referring others and connecting them up together. They love it when you're authentic. So make sure when you're talking to them, excuse me, you're being absolutely straight up because you got to look
Mhm.
them right in the eye and they're going to know if you're trying to pull something over on them. Okay. They love morality, growth, self growth, and they want to feel like they're making a difference. Okay. These
Mhm.
are also great people to have on your team. Okay. They bring the community of your team together and they help everybody move forward. Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. The next one is the knowledge, and the last one. These are some of my favorite people. They are probably some of the smartest people that I know. They are neither inside nor outside the box. They actually engineered the box. Okay. These are probably the people who will invent the vaccine for coronavirus.
Mm.
Yeah, they're constantly learning. They love going. These are the people who love going to school, taking courses, and they've probably been having the easiest time in Corona because they don't really like to be around a lot of other people. Okay, if they're
Mhm.
very high in their knowledge, they don't like to be touched. They're not huggers. You know that those people where those people, the type of person when you go to hug them and you know they're kind of like, right? That's usually a giveaway that they're in knowledge. The other thing that will give them away is they ask a ton of questions.
Mhm.
And the reason is they're not trying to upset you or piss you off. They just don't have enough information to make a decision. So
Mm.
again, it's not about you, Lachelle. It's about them getting enough information to make a decision that feels good to them. That's why with a knowledge person, I give them everything they need. I'm like, here's some more information. Go and look at it. When did you want to connect? And they will tell you. Okay. So
Mhm.
you got to make sure that you're giving them enough so that they can make a decision about that. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, they love technology and innovation. They love all of that stuff. And bank is perfect, basically everything, right?
Mm.
Sales, financial services, real estate professionals, online marketing, especially for my direct selling and my network marketing people.
Mhm.
It can make a huge difference in your business. Relationships, speakers, coaches, leadership, corporate, and education. I wish we had this in everyday schools. It would make such a difference if the teachers knew how to speak to the children and the children knew how to speak to the teacher, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's pretty much my very short presentation. I'll stop sharing that.
Okay.
Can you see me again?
Yep, I can see
Okay.
you.
Yeah, so that's just like a little information
Mhm.
about bank and how it is. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I know that we had talked. You wanted me to kind of take a look at your code and tell you about yourself.
Absolutely. So this is something for everybody to kind of use me as the guinea pig so that they can kind of begin to see where they fit into the picture. So this is
Sure.
good. So
Yeah, and I can.
my
Mhm.
code is listed next to my name. And so Laura can go through that and talk to us about
For
how
sure.
she's able to pivot and maybe present things to me based on my code that I have.
Yeah, sorry, the sun's coming in there. I hope that's okay.
Oh,
And
no,
what I'll do in the chat is I'll put my information if that's okay, Lachelle.
absolutely.
And I encourage you book time with me and Lachelle, and we're going to go over. We'd be happy to chat with you about this,
Mhm,
and so you can learn a little bit more how to do all the things that we're talking about today, because
mhm.
we want to see you succeed huge. So I'll just put that in there now, and I'll put it in again. That's all my information. Book time with me on my Calendly for Lachelle and I.
Okay,
We're going to
okay.
work together with you just to have a chat. So your code is N.K.B.A. So that means your nurturer, knowledge are your primary and your secondary code. Blueprint
Mhm,
is your third code, and action is your fourth. Now, I want to
okay.
be clear. You are a little bit of each code, right? So it's not like you're one thing and not the other, right?
Right.
Um, so your primary code is your nurturer. So you really care about people. That gave it away when you told me what you do, how you connect with people. So it's like
And
dead
how many
giveaway.
kids I
And
have.
if you know what to look for, it's there. You just got to know what you're looking for, right? So
Mhm,
then she told me how many children she has and how big her family is. So if that didn't give me away, it would be it would be that she has so many children, right? And the
mhm,
fact that she creates and the fact that you create such a great community where you are, and it's international. Okay,
mhm,
when you look at me right in the eyes, like you're assessing what's going on, which I love.
mhm,
And the fact that you asked me to come on here tells me that you're looking to help others and yourself have personal growth. Okay.
mhm,
And how this
mhm,
can help them and how they can learn from that. Okay. Which
mhm,
leads me into your second code, which is knowledge. It's really
mhm,
important for you to help educate people about how they can better themselves.
mhm,
Now, for instance, if let's say blueprint was your first code and knowledge was your second, you wouldn't be connecting so much with people. You'd have a process that you would be teaching people.
mm.
Very different.
Big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm,
Okay. So now K is your knowledge is your second code. So that tells me that when you're talking to people, you want to be teaching them things that are going to better themselves. And you're
mhm,
willing to offer the learning either through other people or through yourself to help them do that.
mhm.
Okay. You love tools like what we're on. You love trying out new things. I'm sure you have like the latest tech, and that's always coming into your home. Am I right?
Through my kids, yeah,
Yes.
they were the ones, and I'm like, "Hey," I try, I'm embracing it though, because it
Right.
used to be really intimidating, but yeah,
Right. Yeah. But the thing is, you're willing to learn and be a part of that,
mhm,
right?
absolutely.
And yeah. And the other thing too is like even though you're at home, right? We're all at home right now. You want to be the master of your domain. You want to be really, really good at what you do because
Mm,
in your eyes, if you're really good at what you do, you can pass it on to other people.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Am I pretty spot on so far?
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty good.
cool.
You're doing
And
good.
then your third code is B. Now, the third code is what's called the stress code. So that's where we've all been in the last 8 months.
Mhm,
And so that is why people have not been in their normal behavior. Okay. So
mm,
your stress code is blueprint, which means you probably got super organized. You got
mhm.
super structured about things. You probably did a lot of purging. You made sure that you had a system in place for everything that was new when COVID happened and everything came in. And you became very predictable, and people are like, who is that? Right. So it's not your
Right.
normal behavior.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. So that's interesting, but, that is so true. We have a system for my husband coming in when because he worked, at Amazon, he still does. So he
Right.
worked the whole time during all this. So just imagine the exposure he has. So, yeah, we had a system for that. We had a system for how we brought the groceries in. So that's profound. That's true. Okay.
Right, because we just think it's a normal thing to change our behavior because something changed, but there's a clue there when you look at that third code. Now, if
Mm.
your action was your third code, you would have been out there moving and shaking and making everything happen. But you
Wow.
got structured and organized. Now,
Mhm.
your action is your last code, which is normally what we're the least of. But
Okay.
you need to have the first three codes. Something has to happen within those codes to push you into action. So what you did is you went on to the webinar that I was on and you were learning from it, and therefore it puts you into action to take action for today. So these
Mm.
other things have to happen for you to step into action. But the thing
Mm.
is, you can always be changing your code, Lachelle. It can change. Mine's changed, right?
Mhm.
Because we grow, we learn, we adapt. We want to be better versions of ourselves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
My blueprint at the end, like organization wise, like was really low. It was an 8 out of 25. And now I'm at a 12, just because COVID has forced me to
Mm.
change, to get more organized and structured about my business and my life, right? So that's just
Mhm.
a little bit about you.
That's awesome. Now, so what does the A stand for again?
Action.
Okay, so A is action. Okay.
Yeah. So nurture,
And then
knowledge,
B is,
blueprint,
and
action
then the stressor
is the
is the
B.
third one. Okay. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. So, talk to us about why the benefit is, like how do we
Just close that.
transition? Okay. So we're in a conversation with a potential client. What are some of the questions that we would ask them to kind of gauge what their um, code is?
Right. So what I do as a part of my protocol, there's a couple ways you can do it. So we do have these value cards, which have
Okay.
all of the values on them.
Mhm.
So a lot of the time I'll go in a meeting and I do this. I don't care who it is, whether it's a C-suite meeting or whatever. I say, okay, can you do me a favor? Can you sort these cards, look at the values on them, sort them in order, what's most important to you to least?
Mhm.
Okay. So that I can serve or communicate better with you and save us both some time.
Oh,
I just spoke
okay.
to you in all four codes in one sentence. So something
Oh,
about that is going to move you to sort the cards.
right.
Okay. Now we
Okay.
also have a subscription service where you would create a link that you send out your people to crack their code, which I did to you because I can't see
Mhm.
people physically all the time, especially now in COVID.
Right.
So and then, electronically with the subscription, they go in, they sort the cards. And then what happens is something very cool. You actually get a full report about yourself,
Mhm.
which is amazing. But
Mhm.
what's even cooler for the person who's sending the link is I get a report about you that tells me exactly what to say to you, how to talk to
Mm,
you to communicate to your values, close the sale in less time, and have a better relationship.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's
And I love
invaluable.
that because, a lot of people feel like the sale is the end of business. But what we're
Right.
learning, if you want to be successful, because it's all about having a marathon mindset, not a sprint.
That's
So it's
correct.
about, connecting with these clients outside of actual time when you are creating a sale. It's communicating with them when they have a new baby or, a birthday, a promotion, and things like this. So if you have that code, you're able to figure out how that communication should continue in the future outside of this selling opportunity.
Exactly. One of the people that I work with, she's a financial advisor, and we were talking, we were catching up. She's like, most of my calls take 10 minutes. But since I've been in COVID, everything takes 25, 30 minutes with each customer. People
Mhm.
need more nurturing right now. They need to feel connected to you. I don't care what their code is, right? They
Mhm.
just need to feel that there's so you can connect to them in their code. Just spend the time. That's what I would tell
Mhm.
people in your business and in your life, right? Because
Mhm.
we all need each other more now, right? So when
That's
I'm
right.
approaching customers, I make it a part of my protocol. It's the first thing they do. And if it's a Zoom call and they haven't done it, I send
Mhm.
them the link or I'll bring it up on the Zoom call and share the screen and have them do it right then and there. Because you know what? You can make the wrong presentation 1 out of 24
Mhm.
times. Sorry, you can make the right presentation 1 out of 24 times. There are 24 different type of code combinations.
Oh,
Those
okay.
are very good odds. So I'd rather even up the odds and know what their code is so I can speak to them in exactly what's important to them. So
That's
they're
awesome.
hearing me. Yeah.
Now, so when, let's say for mine, you've got the stressors, you've got the action. With that code, which one are you speaking to? Even though, my first one is in, are you speaking to that code, or are you speaking to the one that's stressor? Or,
I'm speaking to
is
your
it
primary and your secondary.
okay? Okay. Awesome.
Unless, the first part of our conversation would be like, tell me a little bit about yourself. What's going on? How are you dealing with things now? How have you been the last 7 months? Everything you say to me is going to give me huge clues. So if you can in
Mm-hmm.
your business, have the other person speak first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then from there, and I would speak to you in a nurturing way anyways. And I make it very clear that, what I have to offer you today is not only going to help you connect with others, but it's
Mm-hmm.
going to allow you to learn almost a different language. And that's going to, you're in the business of influence. If you don't want to call it sales, call it influence.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be able to influence other people to help themselves more. I just pushed all your buttons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everything I
Mm-hmm.
just said in those first two sentences, because they included a lot of nurturing and knowledge
Mm-hmm.
words,
I
right?
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, so you have the person who's like, look, I don't have time for that stuff. It's hokey. What type of person is that? And how do you respond to them?
I already know what type of person they are. So anybody who thinks it's baloney or anything like that is a knowledge. And I'd say, well,
Mm-hmm.
that's really interesting that you think that. I said, I know that you probably want to validate what I'm talking a little bit. Why don't I send you a copy of our white paper, right? With all of our
Mm-hmm.
research. And not only that, I'll send you the article that Forbes wrote about our artificial intelligence, right? These
Yeah.
people need facts, right? They're like, what can they
Right.
say to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they can say is, no, I'm not really interested, or they could be rude, right? And when you're dealing with people who just, no matter what you say, don't get it, or they don't want a part of it, it's okay to move on, right?
Yeah.
And I find a lot of those people, we get into another level of communication, like working with intelligence. So usually their emotional intelligence isn't, it needs to be a little bit higher, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be working with those people. You want to be working with people who are going to see the opportunity, or it's going to give them a
Mm-hmm.
chance to learn or connect with others, or actually create a system around what they're doing. And I just spoke in
I
all
love
four
that.
codes. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this because it helps people kind of take themselves out of the equation.
Correct.
How often is it as an entrepreneur, salesperson, coach, speaker, whatever, you get in your own way. Oh, they don't like me, or they had this response. And it's like you're trying to build yourself up while you're trying to sell something. Whereas this, it's like, oh, okay, I see how they are and I'm a different way. It's all right. I can move on. It
It's
seems like it would
it,
really help people with their mindset.
yeah, it's never about you.
Mhm,
I can really tell you that.
mhm,
If you're saying all the right things to their values and you know their code, it's never
mhm,
about you. It's just a choice they're making, and it's okay. Yeah.
mhm. I
Be
love
okay
that.
with yourself. Yeah, gosh. You guys are powerful beings, man. Tap into it. I can't tell
Yes,
you how much I want that for people. Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. So, this has just been very informative, and I encourage everybody who's watching to uh, get with Laura and get on her Calendly so that you can schedule a time. This is no pressure. These
Oh
tests
no.
are totally free, but it's just an opportunity for you to move forward in your business, especially now. We're getting ready for Black Friday sales and things of that nature. So, why not be able to position yourself in a way that's going to move you forward and give you the opportunity to make some added sales and profit during the holiday season? So I encourage you to reach out to her. We are going to work together to have another presentation so that you can find out your code and feel confident being able to express the needs of your client in a way that's going to move you forward and them as well. So, what final words would you like to share with everybody as we conclude today, Laura?
Sure. Yeah, I do want to say we didn't get to touch on it too much, but we have great tools and technology. We have artificial and based intelligence where you can actually plug in your marketing emails and see what the codes are that come up. So depending on
Mm,
targeting, or you want to do a target across all codes,
hmm
these things make it invaluable for your marketing. And right now, it's all about marketing, as we all know.
Hmm.
Book time with us on the Calendly. I just love to hear about you and what you do and how we can help you. And my final words would be: don't forget how powerful you are. And using tools like this just bring what level you are to the next level. And the
Hmm.
fact that Lachelle offers a platform like this to create more for you in your life is just unbelievable and extraordinary. And you are all extraordinary. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to have me chat today. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. And I encourage them to do their research, just like you said, check it out on Forbes and, look it up because it's important to be, informed. So
Yeah,
many things we just don't find out about,
exactly.
and it's important to not make a decision until you get the facts, get the
That was
information.
that was definitely your case speaking. I'll tell you that. I love you so much. So in my information there, you have my Calendly link, book time with us, and
Hmm.
then crack my code there where you can get your free report. I've got my email and my LinkedIn. So reach out to me, reach out
Hmm.
to us, and I can't wait to see you succeed and help you be the best version of yourself.
Awesome. Well, we just want to thank Laura today, and we want to thank you guys for watching. We encourage you to reach out to us, get some time on this calendar. It's not going to cost you anything, but it
Right.
could increase your sales. It could help you be more confident to be able to reach those people during these dwindling hours of 2020. Okay. Because we're almost at 2021. So if you want to make up some of the slack of things that have not been too favorable, give her a call, get on the calendar. I mean, you don't have anything to lose, but everything to gain. So
That's
we
correct.
want to thank you guys for watching, and we look forward to seeing you guys on that calendar. Have a great